I just finished Kanye West's new album, Yay. And in this video, I'm going to give you my first reaction, so stick around. Alright, I got my 808s hat, got my Yeezy shirt, just listened to the album. I have been so incredibly hyped for this album. Literally all day. The hype has been just going all over the place. People were saying, this is the new My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. This is Kanye's best album to date. My hype level was through the roof. My expectations were a certain thing. Honestly, I don't know what to make of it. I literally just finished listening to it right before I started making this video. So I have to process it. This is an album, I will say right off the bat, that it needs way more listens than just the first listen, because this is easily Kanye's most mature album to date, and it is not at all what I expected. But I'm gonna tell you what I thought track to track. Premeditated Murder starts off with these really pretty, almost disorienting sounds, very lush, and they're juxtaposed with Kanye talking about murder and suicide. Very interesting choice. For most of the track, Kanye is just talking and affecting his voice in various ways. Halfway through, he starts rapping, and 3/4 of the way through, it really picks up, and he starts rapping pretty hard over a pretty sweet beat. This is an intensely personal song that manages to be hopeless and hopeful at the same time, and that's kind of the vibe the entire album gave me. We then move on to Menacing Ecstasy, which is an amazing beat, maybe my favorite beat on the album. It feels like a Pablo-esque beat, but with a My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy kind of filter over it. Kanye's flow is top tier Kanye. He is calm, cool, collected, but he's passionate. This is my favorite kind of Kanye rapping, and the only time he really does it on the album. What's interesting is that Kanye says he's bipolar, but instead of putting a stigma on it or being down on himself, he calls it his superpower, which is awesome. I think that's a really cool way to look at something that some may perceive as a flaw, but you're turning it into something that's amazing. Moving on to Wouldn't Leak. I'm not a huge fan of Jeremiah, I gotta be completely honest. This song is pretty short. It actually kind of feels a bit like an interlude, because it wasn't fully fleshed out. It's only 2 minutes and change. But it's enjoyable, and it fits the feel of the album thus far, so I'm still in. Butterfly Energy. Another Jeremiah, back-to-back Jeremiah. That's a double down on Jeremiah. I don't really know why you did that, Kanye, but it didn't take away from the album. Not a huge fan. And Young Thug is not my favorite rapper, especially his solo stuff, but I do love all the stuff Thug's done with Kanye, so I welcomed him on this track. Pretty good song. It's half rapping and half spoken word with some hooks sung in between. Make No Mistake's an interesting track. It feels like a graduation era track at times, except it's the modern Ye instead of the graduation era Ye, which is an interesting juxtaposition there. Again, I feel like I like this track. It could have been more beastly. It feels like an interlude. It just breaks 2 minutes. And then we have Same Day. Love me some John Legend. This is a Kanye singing track, and it also features Cudi. It's great to have Cudi and Kanye on a track again. It makes me really excited for their album coming out next week. This song, though, it definitely feels more like a Man on the Moon 2 era Cudi song than a Kanye song, especially towards the end. Some of those vibes are pretty strong. Then the final track, Cry Tonight. When I saw it was the last track, I was like, holy crap, are we already at the last track of this album? Saw Nicki Minaj as a feature, and as soon as the song started, I was like, this is not going to be Nicki's monster moment again. This is going to be a softer, prettier song, and it was. This almost feels like a companion to Kanye's Only One track that came out a few years ago. Honestly, this is a beautiful and super mellow ending to a surprisingly calm and mellow album. And just like that, it's over. That was Ye, Kanye's next album. It was very short. It really felt almost like a long EP, not really an album. This 7-track formula, I kind of see what he's going for, but for me, I was hoping for another full-length album that was just Kanye being Kanye, something bombastic, something surprising, and this was surprising, and it wasn't bad. This album is a look into who Kanye is right now. This is a look into what he feels, what he thinks, and it's not done with any bravado or obnoxious statements or ranting. This is a collected thought process that Kanye spilled his soul onto the canvas and gave us. It's intense and sometimes scary at times, but it's also surprisingly comforting. Like I said, it's extremely short, in direct juxtaposition to Pablo, which is arguably bloated at 20 tracks. This is only 7. However, it hits the points it hits, and it does not overstay its welcome. It's not what I was expecting from Kanye or hoping from Kanye, but I don't think anyone could say it's a bad album. It's a pretty great album. It's his most mature album to date. It takes elements of his past 4 albums, 808s through now, and kind of mashes them together and puts it out, and it's an entirely new sound, which is kind of what Kanye does on every single album. He pushes the genre forward, and then everyone races to catch up with him. This is an album that is very lyric driven. Some of the beats are excellent, but it's a great listen just to kind of sit back and listen to. I want to give it another listen or two tomorrow and really kind of dive into the lyrics, because he's saying quite a bit. A lot of it's really personal. A lot of it is not something that I can really just metabolize on one listen. But overall, I will say, even though it wasn't what I expected, I liked it. If I had to give it an arbitrary score out of 10, I would give it an 8 out of 10, which does make it the worst Kanye album to date. However, an 8 is still better than most people's albums. So I would say if you're on the fence about listening to this album, definitely give it a shot. This is not the Kanye that we know, and this is not the Kanye you might expect, especially with the stuff he's been saying and doing lately. You might think he's going to be a little unhinged, a little edgy. It's edgy, but in a personal way, not in a obnoxious way. I would love to hear your thoughts on the album, especially those of you who have listened to it multiple times and have really given it a fair shot and really dissected some of the stuff Kanye's saying, what he was going for. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, I want to read them, and I want to talk to you about what I think as I continue to listen to this album. I can't believe it's here, and I can't believe I heard it, and it's already done. But I can't wait to learn more about Ye and see where it takes me on future listens. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. More videos soon.